Hello again, feral friends and fellow nature nerds. Welcome to Dirt Dispatch number 14. I'm your host, Tim the Nature Nerd O'Hara. So, a few things for you this week. First is a reminder that if you see some meme or some information particularly on social media, and it makes you think, wow, that's really cool, that's really interesting, I never knew that. Double check to make sure it's true. I saw a meme this last week about scorpions, and it started out with scorpions don't lay eggs like other spiders, they give live birth. And right away, that was a red flag because, of course, if you've been listening to the podcast, you know that scorpions are not spiders at all. So right away, to me, that was a red flag that whatever else was going to be contained in this meme was suspect. It went on to talk about how the babies climb on the mother's back after they're born, and then it said they slowly consume her until she's nothing more than a husk. And it talked about how this was a great Halloween thing and how the mother gives her life and blah, blah, blah. But of course, again, if you listen to the podcast, particularly the one where we talked about scorpions, you know that this is not true. They do not consume the mother. They ride on her back for protection. They might leave and come back until they're old enough and their exoskeleton has hardened enough to protect them. So always, always, always check to make sure stuff like that is true when you see it on the internet. Now, here in the Northern Hemisphere, we are sinking deeper into fall, and it shows here at Dispatches HQ. The cottonwood trees are all brilliantly yellow. It's wonderful. The temperatures are starting to get cooler. We had some near freezing temperatures here at Dispatches HQ last week. Not quite. Got down into maybe the mid 30s. At higher elevations, though, they were starting to see some snow and some freezing temperatures. But one of the things that means around here is that for our ungulates, for our hooved animals like deer and moose and elk and pronghorn, it's mating season. So my family actually asked me about this because they saw a male antelope kind of following a female, and it is antelope mating season. The gestation's about 7 to 8 months, so this is the time of year when they get together to make babies. And actually, pronghorn mating is kind of sweet, kind of gentle. Now the males will sometimes combat each other with their horns, just like deer and elk and moose do. But of course, antelope, unlike deer and moose and elk, don't shed their horns. They do shed their horn sheath, but other ungulates will actually shed their antlers. So their antlers are only used for mating and for pushing around others. But in pronghorn, they keep that horn. The horn sheath is replaced every year, but the horn itself remains. And they do push each other a little bit. They do a little combat over females sometimes. But mostly, sometimes this is because of the females. The females actually employ different mating strategies. So there are 3 types of females. There's a sampling female who will spend a little bit of time with different males. She'll kind of move from male to male, and the frequency increases as she gets closer to estrus or going into estrus, where she can then become impregnated. There's an inciting female, and what she does is she actually gets 2 males riled up so that they do fight each other. And then she goes off with the winner to mate. And then there's the quiet females. They pick a male, they go to some secluded place, and they just spend the time with that one mate. So, like I said, the male courtship rituals in pronghorn are actually kind of sweet. The male approaches the female while softly vocalizing. So I always said, basically, he's serenading her. He kind of waves his head back and forth to display his cheek patches, which is one of the places he has scent glands. A receptive female will stand still. As he approaches, she'll sniff his cheek patches. She'll sniff those scent glands. And then if she's still receptive, she allows him to mate. So it's actually very kind of sweet. All right, that's all I have for you for this Dirt Dispatch. I hope you're having a great autumn and a great spooky season. If you want to support the podcast, there's several ways you can do that. Consider becoming a patron. You can find all the information on doing that at patreon.com dispatches from the forest. You can make a one-time donation via PayPal, and the address for that is dispatchesfromtheforest@gmail.com. You can also use that address to send me an email if you have questions, comments, or suggestions for future episodes. And then, of course, there's the merch store. That can be found at cafepress.com/shop/dispatches from the forest. Check it out. All right, feral friends and fellow nature nerds, that's all I have. I'm your host, Tim the Nature Nerd O'Hara, reminding you to go outside and get dirty. Dirt Dispatches is a production of Dispatches from the Forest and may not be used or rebroadcast whole or in part without express written permission.